You're listening to Love, Death, and Deceit. My name is Alan, and this podcast tells my story. My life, my loss, and the fight for truth. Everything you hear comes from my own experiences, memories, and personal records. Some names and identifying details have been changed, and everyone mentioned is presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. This podcast is meant for storytelling purposes only, and it contains my opinions and interpretations, and nothing here should be taken as verified legal fact. These events shaped my life, and this is simply my side of what happened. Let's begin. Text from the grave. So this episode here kind of hits pretty hard because the things that happened are beyond messed up in my mind and in a lot of people that I talk to. So going back a little bit to my last podcast, if you remember saying on November 14th at 12:04 a.m., my wife called me. I did not notice until the next morning when I woke up. There was a missed call from her. There was no text. There was no voicemail. There was no anything. Looked at my phone, thought about, should I call her back? But at the time, I was still kind of pissed off from the situation, truthfully. So I never called her back. Come to find out later on, she died that day at 6:30 p.m. So she reached out to me, called me, and less than 18 hours later, she was gone. So, there's still the question, like, what happened? Why did she call? Why did she not leave voicemail? Why did she not text, when I didn't answer, whatever. And why did she call me so late? Was it because she wasn't allowed to call me? And so she thought everybody was asleep and called me then, and somebody walked in and caught her, and then why did she die 18 hours later? Other people were in charge of her pain medication at the time, so, there's no telling what happened. So anyway, so that's November 14th. Like I said, I found out later on that she passed away that day. So anyway, I saw the text message then on November 14th, and so, didn't call her back, nothing. So, in the morning of the 15th, which happened to be my birthday, the very next day, I get a phone call, and it's from one of her friends. And on the phone call, she says, first of all, I understand it's your birthday today. I want to tell you happy birthday, and I'm sorry to have to call and tell you this, but Jen passed away last night. And so, I found out first thing morning on my birthday. So you can imagine what that was like. And she goes on to say that I'm calling to tell you because it's my understanding they're not going to tell you. When they specifically told us not to let you know that she passed away. Not to let me know that my wife passed away. Like, the evilness is just beyond comprehension. I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy personally. I've talked to some people and I'm like, I just don't understand how people can be this evil. And they say it's a good thing that you can't understand it, because if you could understand it, you'd be capable of it yourself. So I guess that's our shining light of it, right? When we can't understand it, it means because we're not capable of being the same evil. So anyway, that's what she told me that morning. She passed away and they're not going to tell you, but I think it's wrong and I have morals, and that's why I called to tell you. So anyway, so I'm like, okay. So we tried to, of course, cried for a long time, and then, had a little family dinner for me and things. Oh, and that's the thing too. It's funny, is like, so my brother had set up a little like sushi place for us to go to, made reservations and everything. And so we go there, and it's this like ocean theme sushi place. And so my wife's favorite thing was the sea turtle. She loved sea turtles. She had them everywhere. It was just her thing, the sea turtle. So it's like I walk into this restaurant, we sit down, and they have all these screens, big TV screens all over the walls that make it look like you're inside of an aquarium. And we're sitting there, and it's sea turtles swimming all over and on the walls of this restaurant. And it was just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, gosh, this can't be just chance that this is happening right now. I mean, she just passed away a day ago. It's my birthday dinner, and she's here with us. So anyway, so we get through that night. Next morning, I wake up, and I get a text message from my wife's ex-stepson. Because when she divorced with her ex, she didn't divorce the kids that she was part of their lives forever. They were still in daily contact, very closer with her than they were with, their biological father. But her ex-stepson texted me that morning. My wife's been passed away now for 2 days, right? I get a text from her ex-stepson, and it says, I'll put it up here on the screen. Hey man, let me know when is a good time. Jen wants me to come get her stuff for her today. Really? So this is his stepmom, passed away 2 days ago, my wife, and he texts me saying that Jen wants him to come get her stuff today. Because she had asked me before when she was in the hospital and she was coming home that she wanted me to give her Christmas decorations so she could pass them out to the kids and give them to who she wanted them to go to and stuff. And I was like, sure, babe, I'll get them together and get them all ready for you and all that kind of stuff. And so, he texts me this. And so I didn't reply. And just a little while later, I get a call from Ivy's attorney. Luckily, I got smart in the beginning of this, and I got a little electronic recorder, and I kept it with me 24/7. And so when anything of significance phone call, I'd put it on speaker and I would record it on my recorder. So I have this guy's whole recording, and I'll play it for you now.
Yes, sir. I'm an attorney for and Jennifer.
Okay.
And I sent a letter to you a few weeks ago. I'm certain you got that because I received a certified verification.
Mm-hmm.
And they've asked me to reach out to you before we do anything further legally to simply ask you to release some items that belong to Jennifer.
Yeah, I talked to Jennifer the other day, and so she had told me what she wanted. And then I texted her this morning because there was some of the things that I couldn't find. So I texted her this morning asking her where the stuff was. So I'm just waiting to hear back from her.
Okay. My understanding of it is that some of the items were supposed to be on the porch, but they were not. So you're just saying that you weren't able to locate the items, or some of them, or all of them?
No, just some of them. Because Jen told me to bring them over there and put them on the front porch, but I couldn't find some of the things. So like I said, I texted her this morning asking her where it was, because she said there was a purse in her closet, and I looked through her closet and it wasn't there. And then I can't find her Christmas decorations anywhere. I've searched the house. So like I said, I texted her this morning and asked her where the stuff is. So as soon as she tells me where it is, then I can gather it all.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your cooperation in that. I'll get back with the family, and let's see if we get some indicators on where they are. We just wanted to reach out to you in good faith.
Yeah, I mean, if she would just call me and tell me where it's at, then, I can get it all together.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate you responding.
Okay.
I'm certain that someone will be back in touch with you. Thanks for answering.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
So, this guy knows, I was told, he 100% knew that my wife had passed away. And he called and was telling me that. So I knew she had passed away at this point, and I was playing along with his conversation to see how big of a hole that this guy was going to dig for himself. And that's why I kept saying, well, just have my wife text me. Just have my wife call me. Because I knew she had been passed away. He knew she had been passed away, but he didn't know that I knew. And so he just went along with it. Now, tell me, guys, are any attorneys out there? It seems like some kind of ethical violation or something here to me. There's no way that that's ethical for an attorney to sit there and basically lie like that. And he said that he represented my wife. She had passed away. How did he represent her when she's no longer here? So anyway, so we end that phone call. And then all of a sudden I get text messages from my wife's phone. Now, remember here, the whole family on that side doesn't think I know that she's passed away. So I get a text message from my wife's phone acting like it's my wife. So after the attorney, I texted my wife's phone and I was like, hey babe, where's that Christmas stuff? I can't find it. And so then someone texts me from my wife's phone. She says, and I got put it right up here on the screen. It's in the big Christmas bins, the guest house, I think. I also want my grandma's rosary that's hanging on the bed. And I was like, hey, where is it? Blah, blah. She's like, what time can her 2 kids come over today to get it? If you can't find it, they know what it looks like. They help me put it up. What time can they come get it? And I'm like, no, I don't want them over here at my house. Now, remember, I know she's passed away, so I'm just going along with this thing to, of course, see how big of a hole that they'll dig. And then, so going down, you can read it. It's like, if you won't let them come get it, I don't know how to tell you where it is. And I was like, babe, I love you. When can I see you again? And she says, enough. You promised me on Tuesday I would get my things. And I was like, why are you being like this to me, babe? And she's like, when can he come get my things? And I'm like, baby, why are you treating me like this? And then they text, you just got off the phone with the attorney. Do you want him to call you again? And I was like, seriously, babe, I love you. Why are you doing this? And blah, 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 blah. And I was like, why not, my love? And it ends with, the attorney will call you. So again, it's, they literally oh, then she said, put everything on my mom's porch today. I'm done talking. And so they literally impersonated my wife. I mean, how twisted in the mind do you have to be? You texted me 2 days after my wife died from her phone, acting like you're her. And now I can't prove who it was that texted from her phone, right? But I know her phone was at her mother's house with her when she passed away. So you draw the conclusion there who these text messages come from. And I don't understand how this can't be illegal. I actually contacted the sheriff's department about it, and they're like, oh, we can't prove intent. We can't prove intent. Well, Texas Penal Code 33.07 under online impersonation, it has it right here. It's a crime to send electronic mail, instant message, text message, or similar communication in reference to someone else's name, domain address, identifying information without consent, with intent to cause a recipient to reasonably believe the other person authorized or sent the communication, and with intent to harm or defraud any person. And so when I finally contacted the sheriff about this, they're like, oh, we can't prove intent. You can't prove intent that she tried to harm or defraud me when they're trying to get my wife's stuff from me from her phone, impersonating my dead wife, trying to get her purse and a necklace. Her purse and a necklace is what they were trying to get from me. Oh, and her Christmas decorations, Because it went on, because then after that, the grandmother, my wife's mom, she calls like our local police chief and is like, you need to press charges. He won't give us, Jennifer's stuff. And it's like, well, that's his wife and she passed. And it's now his stuff. Unless you have a problem, you go through the probate court for that. And it's just unbelievable, really, that this can happen, that she sees no issue with this. But then the other thing is she gets other people involved. The ex-stepson, he texts me first. He started off the whole thing. And then she gets the attorney to call me and lie and act like he doesn't know that my wife had passed away, and then she, did. And then whoever person texted me from my wife's phone after she passed away too. So, that's 3 people that came in conjunction here to commit this crime that I believe is a crime. Well, when 3 or more people talk about it and proceed with it, it becomes criminal conspiracy at that point. But no, they're like, oh, we can't prove intent. How the hell can you not prove intent on this? Because now we got criminal conspiracy. We've got an attorney, leading me to believe things that aren't true. There's got to be some kind of ethical violations there. Oh, and this is the same attorney that prepared the will that my wife signed, the new will that my wife signed while she was in the hospital under heavy doses of pain medication. This is the same attorney. So it kind of ties it all together there, it shows what kind of people that we're dealing with. And so it just continues. And to me though, this is just the biggest, you are some low life people that will impersonate my dead wife to get a purse and a necklace. Really? So anyway, so there's that. And I guess it's really just the subject I wanted to cover right here, just to give a little background of what kind of people that we're dealing with here. So again, it just keeps getting better and better, or worse and worse, whichever way you want to look at it. It's worse and worse for me, but the storyline gets better and better. So in the next episode, we'll get a little bit more of the deceit and the lies and the manipulation. We'll get into there, but this one was kind of a big one for me. So till the next time, so don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. And that way you can hear the rest of the story as I said I was going to do an episode every week, but once I'm getting started now, I'm like, I got to get this out here. I got to continue it on. Everybody's asking me what happens next. So I'm going to do them a lot more often than that. So, and then I just always, like I said, want you to remember, the truth will set you free, and the truth always comes out eventually. Talk to you later.